welcome to another exciting episode of Please Dunk Responsibly. I'm one of your hosts, Ben Rice. With me, as always, my co-host,
Phil Webster. Nice to be here, as always. Let's do this.
Yep, and this week we're going to do a special episode. It's Sacramento Beer Week. It kind of snuck up on us, so we're going to do it. We're going to do...
Yeah.
The listeners have been clamoring for this, I think. They've been coming up to me in public at games with no masks on. They're like, hey, when are you going to do an All Kings episode? We're going to do an All Kings episode. But we're still going to do all Sacramento beers as well. So if you're not in the Sacramento region, you don't get mentioned today.
Yeah, you don't
Even though we had plans, we had beers we were going to drink. They are no longer being drunk. We're drinking Sacramento beers.
They get pushed. Sacramento, here we come. They're number one this week.
The best and worst, maybe just the best. Who knows? We'll figure it out. We're going to compare players to beers, beers to players. Maybe we'll figure out what brewery the Kings are. Maybe we'll do that.
Oh, yeah, we might do that. You know, they got obviously a ton of Kings greats that we're going to talk about and find out how they are to beers and some of our favorite Sacramento beers and go from there. I think it's going to be awesome.
And speaking of Sacramento beers, we're going to have to drink a beer because this is a basketball and beer podcast. Phil, what are we drinking today?
For sure. I think we're going to be drinking Rising Together. Now, not all the breweries, but 22 breweries were awesome enough to collaborate together to create this Rising Together beer where everybody got to make a hazy IPA to a West Coast IPA or any version that they felt, and it all some of the proceeds go to the Sacramento Brewers Guild, and it's just to help them all rise together, right? When they say, like, you know, one boat rises, they all rise kind of thing. And so, like, they all work together. I think it's really cool. Which one do you have, Ben?
So for me, I've got the Urban Roots version. They did an unfiltered IPA coming in at 7%.
And I have Jackrabbit's Hazy Ipa that comes in at 6.8.
Oh, boy.
As I pour it now, it is hazy.
Oh, I didn't pour mine.
The aroma is great. As most IPAs are, very citrusy. I know Campus, who we also have, I know theirs, I think, is 100% Simcoe. Mm-hmm. They did some really, really cool things. And, I think BSG and everything kind of like helped. The hop distributor, they donated and stuff like that to this cause. And that's awesome. So it's like everything with the pandemic that has happened, it'll help, all those out a little bit more. And hopefully we can start drinking inside those breweries pretty soon.
Yeah. It's a great product. Everybody gets their own spin on it. Like you said. Oh, that is okay. Yeah. A little orange mastery there.
Very orange. Has a very milk sugary taste, for just a single hazy, but it's very, almost creamsicle-ish. It's got a lot of sweetness to it. Yeah.
Yeah. This Urban Roots drinks very much like a classic West Coast. They just didn't filter. So it's an unfiltered, I think, to me, a West Coast IPA. It's very dank, very piney, very resiny, a little bit of a citrus kick, but that's still West Coasty, so pretty damn good.
Yeah, they are both very delicious. I can't wait to try the other ones during this episode.
There's only 20 left for us to tackle from this point forward.
Only 20 more to go during this entire episode.
Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be, we're just going to talk about every player that's ever been on the Kings. Rumored trades, that's good enough for us.
Yeah.
Almost signed them, got outbid. That's going to count. Assistant coaches, we're just doing everybody.
Marathon. Just everybody.
No.
Past Kings coaches. No. But to reiterate, again, just, get the beers wherever you can find them. Go to the breweries as much as you guys can. It started on Saturday and it goes until
next Sunday.
Yeah. So, get out there, guys. Check events. I know sacbeerweek.com, I think, is the website, and get on it.
Yep. And so let's just get the canning trays out of the way. Check the Sac Beer Week website. See what breweries are making for this beer week. Go grab one that sounds fun. Boom. That's 3 beers worth getting. Boom. At least. Minimum 3 beers
at
worth
least, yeah. There's 22 to choose from. Get them all.
Yeah.
Get as many as you can.
That's not even counting other special releases that they might be doing.
Yeah. There's going to be some crazy stuff going down. I know Jackrabbit, I think, is doing a Firkin today or Firkin. They just there. I know we could have done it live there. It would have been great.
I love a Firkin fest.
Yes. So that everybody's doing something pretty cool, and this is a way to again support the breweries, support the tap rooms. It's a good time.
Yep. We should probably catch up with the Kings right now. They're in the midst of yet another losing streak.
Of course.
Well, you can't.
My beloved Kings.
Can't have nice things.
No.
All at once. You can have a few nice things, like right now Darren Fox is out indefinitely, which is a bummer.
Yes.
For our record.
In his, he's got to do the quarantine, the 14 days. Again, you don't know what caused it. You don't know if it's just somebody he knows or if he contracted it, but he has to stay away from the team. And of course, he leads the team in points, assists, and steals. So, that's, it's going to hurt him, but we'll get to see a little bit more of your boy, Halliburton.
Yeah.
And, hopefully, we can see what he's got.
Yeah.
He's going to learn. This is time to learn because they're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
so.
get healed back in the starting lineup, see what happens. God, that glut of guards we picked up at the trade deadline, maybe they're actually going to get some run now. And you'll see, I think whenever this happens, you get a chance to see what the players that you don't really know, you'll get to see what they do in a bigger role. And I think that's important.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Me Too's been playing really well. Like he's kind of like that stretch 3, stretch 4. Can score the ball, seems confident enough. They just, again, on the defensive end, they're horrendous. They're just horrendous. And I don't know if it's coaching. I want to blame it on that because I felt like they were on the right track before. But I think offense is not their problem. They just cannot stop anybody.
They can't stop anybody. They got not
they
for an extended period of
threes.
time. They can lock down for a few possessions, but they get tired. They get lazy.
Yeah.
They slip up.
They do.
It's not
They
great.
don't. Yeah, they don't swap. They they just leave guys wide open. You just do basic ball movement on them, and they eventually get burnt. And they just jack up too many threes. They get ahead, and they continue to jack threes instead of going to the hole and doing what they do best, is slashing and getting those layups. So, yeah, there's they're in trouble. But like you said, the bright side is we get to see the young guys, see what they have. Hopefully, they can make an offer in the offseason. I know they're 5 games back right now. The Warriors are the last spot, and not that I want them to get there, but with 15 games to go, I don't know.
Not looking good.
That's not looking good.
Yeah, you said murked, and a lot of people in the beer world know murk means murky, means hazy. Let's get right into it. We've established that a hazy IPA or double IPA, those are your star players in this. Hazy IPA is main. I don't know if we ever really said out loud whether a hazy IPA was better than a West Coast IPA. We definitely agreed it's better than a milkshake IPA. But all right, so let's just dive in. Hazy IPAs, a murky IPA. What's one of your favorite hazy IPAs, and what player would you say that is?
Oh, right now I would say out here. I know it's recent, and people are really getting on track with hazies right now. So I would say I really, really like, I think it was Stripes and Stars by Bite Dog. Okay. I think it's like one of their hazies that they just did. Wires and Stripes. It was really, really good. They're really getting down on these hazies, like over our year. We were just talking about that, I think, off the air. It's like how hazies have changed here, and people are really starting to nail them and get them down. Not a lot of milk sugar being used as there are in like more East Coast or Great Notion, those places up there. So we try to keep ours still kind of Westy, but just like softer. But yeah, really, really good right now. And I would compare that to a player that we got going right now that's, again, like it's pretty standard. Like, he's not going to get heralded right now, but Harrison Barnes has been what we got for him. I feel like he's played well.
He has.
Again, he hasn't done anything that he wasn't supposed to do. Like, I mean, he's averaging about 15 points a game. Like, a decent amount of rebounds and assists, and he's there in the clutch. He's hit a couple game winners, and the team seems to like him. Everybody seems to play for him. He unfortunately gets paid a lot of money.
Yeah,
but he's been a surprise for me, and so I would say he's probably our Hazy, because it's he's starting to kind of fill in and get what he's supposed to do, and he's looking pretty good out there. They need defense.
Yeah. And for me, a hazy IPA out here, I'm going to go old school. Is that okay if I do that? I don't know.
Oh, of course.
So there's a beer from New Helvetia. It's a series called It's Always Hazy in Sacramento. So that's a series. To me, it's who defines a really good player that really spent their career in Sacramento, or at least is known nowhere else. They may have gone on to other things, because the Kings don't have career-long players unless they played 2 years. It doesn't happen.
No, they don't.
So there's no real person who's a player that was known for 15 years and played in Sacramento the whole time. That didn't happen for the Kings. So to me, I'm not going to name a guy who was there for a year or two and then, was out of the league. That's not in the spirit of the game. But a guy who was a King. And when you ask, did he play somewhere else? Nobody remembers those years. It's going to be Mike Bibby.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that guy was great.
Yeah, he was. He was a Vancouver Grizzly before, but he'll always be known, if he was to go into the Hall of Fame, which everybody goes to the Hall of Fame, that he'll be known as a King. His greatest years were here.
His greatest moments.
I think that's a good cause. Yeah. My thing with Hazy is that it's only become a thing here in Sacramento for about a couple of years.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. He is one of the greats, one of the greats.
In that case, I can always spin it. I'm always down to do this. I can play your rules, man. And I'll put
rules.
I'll put it down as you're going to hate me. Here's the thing. Hazy has some elements that some people think are bastards that don't belong in the beer style.
Oh, definitely.
To get it out of there. It's an imperfect beer made perfectly. Mm-hmm. And so let's just call it, this dude puts up buckets. The most 3-pointers made previous to Steph Curry going on a run. It's Buddy Hield. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll do that to you because I knew what it'd do.
That's fine. Maybe he'll just talk him up enough that he'll get trending and we can get rid of him. I wanted a lot for Buddy Hield. But he's flashy. He puts up the numbers. We got exactly what we got for Cousins, is a guy who just puts up numbers and doesn't really make anybody else better. So I'm happy for him. He's going to do it. He'll probably end up on some team at some point, like the Lakers or the Clippers or something like that. It's bound to happen. I'm surprised he didn't have a buyout.
No, he wants his money. He's not going to those teams. He's going to be on the Pistons. He's going to be
That's probably true.
Yeah, just those guys that the Magic need a shooter again, and they're just going to find a way to force Markel Fultz out for some reason. They're just going to get healed and just to ruin it.
Just so it can be his team and he can shoot it 30 times a game.
Maybe the 76ers are looking for a shooter.
Yeah.
I mean, they are, but,
They always are. Yeah.
But they don't want it at that price. Maybe the Kings get lucky and they convince the Bucks that they can't win with Chris Middleton, make the trade. That would be the most incredible thing that ever happened.
I mean, we've talked too much about Chris Middleton. He's not going to.
All right, you're right. Hey man, there's good things. We're talking about good things. I mean, my list contains pluses and negatives, because it's a give and take game.
No, of course.
I actually went through and made a list of players and beers I wanted to compare that go across eras. I looked, check this out. From the Kings moved here in 87, is that right? 85, 86, 87?
Yes.
Somewhere in there. So mine starts in 89, no gaps till 98. Till 99. That's the only year. Then there's a gap from 2005 to 2007, and then a gap from 2000 and only in 2010. And then 15 through 18. I picked 5 players. I managed to get pretty much every era of Kings basketball in here, and players I definitely want to compare. I've also got my beers going 80s to today. That's right. We play all the hits.
Oh, yeah. Nice. No. I would, so if you, who's your greatest of all time King, in your opinion, in the beer?
Okay. I didn't put this on my list because I was like, we all know the greatest King of all time is Chris Webber. It's not even, is it up for debate? Mitch Richmond, he's number 2. He's a clear number 2.
He's probably number 2. There's probably going to be some Mitch Richmond people out there.
There's going to be some Vlade people. There's going to be some Jason Williams people.
There's going to be some Bibby people.
Yeah, there's going to be Bibby. There's going to be Tyreek. There's going to be DeMarcus. But I think Chris Webber is the clear-cut number 1 king.
He is. He should have a statue.
And so for me, I'm just going to call him. I didn't intend this. This just keeps happening.
I'm writing this down just because I want to see if we pick the same beer.
I did the Mystery Airships Volume 2. That Ginger Elizabeth's Chocolate Porter from New Helvetia.
Wow.
One of my favorite beers of all time. It's been brought up on the podcast before.
A fantastic beer.
And we mentioned power forwards oftentimes porters. And Vlade Divac was a flashier player. He's more the stout. So I'm going to give Chris Webber the porter. And I'm going to say one of the best damn beers I've ever had. So, sorry,
I would
Chris.
say mine is Monkey Knife Fight.
Excellent.
Now was by Rubicon, now by Tower Brewing. That beer is stand the test of time. It's not a double IPA like we would normally say a Power 4 would be. It is like a double IPA or very strong. But that recipe stands the test of time. That is a great, great beer. That should be up there with Pliny and all that if we had the recognition.
Yeah,
that is,
you can drink that in the 90s. You can drink that today. Chris Webber, you can plug 1994 Chris Webber into the NBA today, and he would clean up.
Oh, yeah. And it's a great name. It's probably one of the most iconic names for a beer in Sacramento.
Yeah. And Chris Webber, positives and negatives, is an iconic human being.
Yes.
Player.
Easy. Yes.
Like, icon.
Yeah. Yeah. Easy. Probably the best player they ever were lucky enough to get, and they built around him, and they had like a good, 5-year run.
Yeah. And if you named one beer from Sacramento that people know is from Sacramento, Monkey Knife Fight's probably it.
Yeah.
In the old days, in the before times, in the Chris Webber era, if you're like, Sacramento has beer? What beer? Monkey Knife Fight.
Monkey Knife Fight. Yeah, it's the best. That's what I coincide with it. But the Ginger Elizabeth beer from New Helvetia, one of the best. Hands down, one of the best beers I had ever had. Of course, it has Ginger Elizabeth Chocolate, who is also from Sacramento, chocolatier, killing it. So how's that beer not going to be good? It's carrying half the weight is chocolate itself.
You're going to give me a spicy chocolate porter? I'm going to say yes every time. That's
so good. So good.
All right. Now, do you want me to pick a player for my list or a beer for my list? Because I also...
Yes, you can do both. Yeah, we can do... Let's pick a player and then we'll both pick a beer.
Okay. I'm going to go with the oldest player on my list. This is from 1989 to 1994. Power forward, winner of the gold medal in 1984 Olympics, deceased, no longer with us, one of the best jazz guitarists to come out of the NBA. Big smooth, big fundamental, but not Tim Duncan. I'm going with Wayman Tisdale.
Wayman Tisdale. R.I.P. Yeah, 4-1 only. What a great pick. That's a great pick. Oh, man.
I love him.
He was great. No, he was a great Kings player.
He had his best seasons with the Kings.
Yeah, and people forget because, again, he moved around.
Yeah.
He was on a lot of those 90s teams, like later on.
Yeah, the Suns. He was known for being like that guy before Barkley, or after. Yeah, whatever.
He got to the finals with Barkley. That was probably like his last year, second to last.
Yeah. He can slide to the center if you need him. Good scorer, good rebounder, good offensive rebounder, great teammate, great human being, and a killer guitarist. Put out tons of albums. Played with some of the greats. Truly a multifaceted human being. Gone too soon. As much as I put thought into these players, I did not actually think about what beers I'd compare them to. So I want something big and robust, but smooth, I think is what I'll want there, right?
Yes. No, what's so funny is that I was thinking of course, it's Drake's and it's not us, but I was thinking about Drake's Robusto.
Oh, that's a good one. Drake's the Barn. Do we count it?
The Barn is now located in Sac, so this is not, it's not that far of a stretch.
Realm.
It's not out of the realm. But that's a great beer as well. But yeah, he had some of his greatest years. He was a defensive rebounder and power inside. He was in those old days where you needed those physical big men. But yeah, definitely something malty, I would say.
Yes.
Something big in that stout range, or in that.
You know what?
Heavy red.
Let's do it. You know what? Let's face facts. Ooh, a heavy red. Well, and that might change up my whole thing. You know what? I'm going to do it. I was going to go. I'm like, you know what? He's probably kind of a nerd. He'd probably be okay with the Urban Roots Demons Run, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll get a little coconut up in there and a little bit of sci-fi.
Yeah. I was saying it could be, he could easily be one of those, one of their mustache beers or the demon. Yeah, totally.
But, you know, I was going to go, also no longer with us, American River Brown Ale.
American River Brown, yeah. Killer, classic beer. R.I.P. to that. That's probably actually perfect because they were both good in their time. You can't carry a brewery on a brown.
Yeah, as they found out. Your
best beer.
Even if it is the best brown I've ever had, it's not enough.
It can't be your best beer because nobody's. Yeah. People want IPAs. You have to come out swinging with throwing heat.
They went so long without putting an IPA. They had an SSB, a super special bitter that was their IPA, but they refused to use the letters IPA. And the 3 more letters RIP. But damn, they made good beer. All right.
They did. Yeah, they tried. They couldn't stand on that. They were going to die on that hill, and they did.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a tough world out there. I love the people that make old school beers, but there's a struggle every time.
Yeah. At the same time, I get angry about that kind of stuff, and I'm like, I want them to do other things, or I agree with them not making hazies or not doing sours or whatever, but it's like, it's also a business and you got to do what people want. What do people want to buy? Like, I mean, it's unfortunate, but you know, that's part of the deal in the art is also making stuff that people want.
Yeah.
And so kind of have to go both ways.
Yeah. And they kept their prices down even as inflation hit. So that was like hurting their, you know, what sales they did have didn't bring a lot of profit either. I love those guys so much. Anyway.
Yes. So no, I think perfect comparison. 2 people are a player and a brewery that did not last, but were great in their time periods that they had.
Yeah.
My next guy is White Chocolate. Probably most underrated point guard probably in the NBA. I know he gets a lot of love from players. I know he still plays today.
Yeah, still flashing on those playgrounds.
He was amazing. I think people just didn't know what to do with him simply because of his skin color. Jason Williams was amazing. He got a little too crazy with the threes when
his shot
later on, but that guy could distribute like nobody's business. He had some of the best best passes ever seen. He was on SportsCenter every night. There was a Kings game. That's my guy. I feel like, again, like we talked about with point guards, that it's very much like a session IPA or a lager, like something that it's just a go-to every night. You can have one. You don't have to be in a special mood. It's going to get it done.
Yeah.
What's your pick?
Yeah. Oh, my pick. Well, I picked something that that did not exist before Sacramento beer scene came around, that people have tried to bring out and it hasn't worked out. This thing that was a flash and nobody knows about it. Jason Williams was a dynamo. Everybody knew who Jason Williams was. This is a beer that not many people knew about. I chose Rubicon's Winter Wheat Wine.
Barley wine.
No, it's not a barley wine. It's a wheat wine.
Oh, it wasn't a barley wine. It was a wheat wine.
Wheat wine.
Yes.
First one ever brewed was at Rubicon in 1988. It was the only beer of its type until the early 2000s. There's been like a handful, like maybe 24 that have ever existed outside of Sacramento.
Yes.
Often imitated, never duplicated. Rubicon made it every year until they went out of business. It's this super malty, sweet, fruity, not strong, not hoppy enough to be a barley wine, like mostly wheat and then like some barley filler and rice filler. Oh man, there's nothing, you can't even describe it. It's such a weird style.
Yeah, it was very strong.
Yes.
But light in flavor because of the wheat. It was very much, it was a softer, it was just like a carbonated wine in a way, like unlike a barley wine where it's like incredibly sweet and can be pounds of flavor. This one was much like, I remember, I think Cap Tap at the time might have gotten like the last keg.
Yeah, they did.
Before they sold. Yeah, that was an incredible beer. Great beer call. Like that one is up there. Like that one was like unheralded. They would only come out with it every now and then.
Yeah.
Because obviously it takes time. But it was a good beer. It was nothing like anything else you would ever drink.
Yep. Often imitated, never duplicated.
Yes, agreed. Yes.
So,
nobody even would, if you'd said wheat wine, nobody would know
what. You know, like Jason Williams, like, oh, okay, all right, yeah. There's nobody like it.
No, mine is the Urban Roots 10 degrees that they make. It's a solid beer. I love that Czech lager.
Yeah.
For Sacramento Beer, I can have that all year long.
Yeah.
Like I love that thing. People were buying it by the cases when they first came out with that during the pandemic. I hope that it becomes something that they just make all year round.
Yeah.
I know they made it a couple times. I love it. It should always be on. That's the one thing I love about Urban Roots is that they make as many lagers as they do IPAs.
Yeah.
Like it's so great. And I enjoy them very much. But yeah, to me, Jason Williams is like, if you're going to have one, what's the best Czech lager I can think of in our town? That's it right there.
Yeah.
And Jason Williams is doing it.
Also, it's on tap. It's a slow pour.
Yes.
Czech pills. So there's a certain appreciation you have to have when you're looking at that beer. Like the beauty of
when you're drinking it. Yes. The flavor. And then it becomes even softer when you're drinking it in the bar. It's so good. Again, it's great in the can. It's great at the bar, slow pour. It's just a good, fantastic beer. And if you get your hands on it, buy a lot, because if you don't, it'll be gone in a couple weeks. Like when they come out with it, it's so good.
Yeah. Now I'm going to keep it Peter Hoey, but I'm not going to do Urban Roots.
Oh,
you know what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Here we go. This one.
Sacramento Beer.
No, I'm not even doing Sac beer. I'm doing one of the most sought after bottles, 2008 to 2016. Eau de Nata Saison.
Oh, wow.
Rick Sellers, Peter Hoey, doing it. Financial crisis ruined them. If that had not happened, they were doing corked beers in 2008. Nobody was doing this. They were like, we're going to go on Belgians and Saisons and all these weird beers that were popular, and we're going to make well done, like $13 for 750 milliliters before that was a thing. That Saison, still one of the best Saisons I've ever had. There's still a few bottles lying around. Peter's probably got like 12 dozen of them just hiding somewhere.
Oh, no, there's no doubt. He's got a cellar of them.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
But
I thought you were going to go Louis beer there.
Oh.
I guess that wouldn't have been Sacramento technically.
Yeah, technically. That's Three Weavers down in Los Angeles.
That's three, yeah.
But I was like, I need to get this Eau de Nata in there. You know, we got to kick it old school, man. That's like right as the Kings are starting to fall off.
Who are you comparing to that beer?
Oh, boy. You know, I did not think, like I said, when I thought of these, I didn't compare them to players or beers.
Yes.
Like, to me, you know what? Here's what I'll say. I'll throw it to Vlade.
All right.
He's still around. He's not in the same way that he was, you know?
No.
He's moved
still
on to
here.
other things. Although Vlade's
business ventures.
Vlade's post-player career is not Peter Hoey's post-Eau de Nata beer career, but,
no.
you know, they're
one
not
is
the same.
rising and the other one is falling.
Very much fallen, flat on his face. But, I mean, for the delicate and, like, the funky and the weird and the fun, and watching Vlade Divac play, even for the Lakers, was so much fun.
Yeah. He was unorthodox.
Yeah.
Like, he was a European player, but he knew how to get under people's skin.
Yeah. Oh,
he knew how to agitate, and he would...
for best scent and flavor.
Yes. Yeah, he was. So you hated him unless he was on your team.
Yeah.
And he was on the Kings in his best years, in his prime. And they put together a run with him and Weber on the court at the same time. They worked so well together. He was great. I would have to say, yeah, you know what? I'd say Doug Christie.
Yeah.
Again, very unorthodox, but great player. Like, again, you liked him if he was on your team. He knew his role. He didn't try to score too much. He defended the best players, the Kobe's, the Allen Iversons, whoever the best offensive player on your team, that's who Doug Christie guarded. Like, and people need to give that dude his credit. That dude
put him in a cage. Up.
Yeah, they're going to score. They were going to score points. They weren't going to score career highs on him. They were like, he kept you in check, made you think twice, and was super physical. And
yeah,
I love that about him. And now he's even become more popular, I think, as a color analyst.
Oh, that's an even better comparison. Yeah, he's very popular as the color commentator for the Kings right now. A new career for him. Yeah, that actually fits better than Vlade. Look at that go. This is why we do it.
Oh, man, this is why, just things going on. We're knocking it out of the park here.
Yeah.
All right. So we knocked out Bibby, Weber, Jason Williams, Vlade.
Technically.
Yeah, and then I guess we have like Mitch Richmond.
Oh, boy.
Like, again, like probably number 2, like you said, the second best player probably in Kings history. Offensively, he carried the team when there was nobody here.
Mm-hmm.
What was his nickname?
I feel like it was a bad nickname.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest.
If it was good, Rock. We'd have remembered it.
Rock Richmond. Yeah, I thought it was like, I thought it was something. I thought it was like Rock something. It's just the Rock.
No, that's terrible. He's not even a top 5 Rock. Rock Hudson.
No, exactly. He's
the
probably
show Rock with Charles S. Dutton. Better. The Rock. Better.
Like, The Rock, obviously, number 1.
Yes. The Rock.
The Rock, 1. The movie.
Number 2.
Better. But yeah, I guess, he was a loyal player. He was part of those, that era of players where David Robinson, those guys, they usually stayed wherever they were. He ended up on the Warriors late in his career, had a good run with them too down the stretch.
Yeah.
Mitch Richmond, I think, is a double IPA.
Yeah.
He's like probably easily when he was like kind of carrying this team when there wasn't a lot of help around. He was the only thing that was like still an all-star.
Yeah.
Even on this terrible teams out here.
Yep. He couldn't always beat the best shooting guards in the league, but sometimes he'd be the best shooting guard on the floor against the best.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. Like, I mean, sometimes that's all that mattered. And again, like, he would carry him and get him some wins. They just, they weren't going to get enough. Like, you didn't have any help. And then back then, again, you're playing with the Jordans.
Yeah.
The really good teams. Like,
you got your Kobe on the come up.
Kobe on the come up. Yeah. So it was like a bad era to be like good.
Yeah.
Not great. Like, to be
right.
Good. It was like
better than Jeff Hornacek, but.
Yeah.
So what's your beer for him?
Oh,
your descriptors.
Double IPA.
I think it's staring you in the face. He's also known, I think for a lot of people, known more as a warrior than he is.
He is probably, yeah. You would say, yeah, because he kind of was there in his
double IPA that people know and love that might have won an award every once in a while, but then the brewer is actually known for something else currently.
Interesting.
I'm just gonna say it. Mitch Richmond is hoptologist.
Oh wow! Look at that! Look at what he just did. Yes, hoptologist. It was right there. It was great. Again, an unsung hero here in Sacramento. Like one in a blind taste test versus Pliny the Elder, which was like standard for so many years.
Yeah, you show those stats and be like, Kobe v. Mitch Richmond, just stats, no names.
Yeah.
He'd beat him.
Yeah, if you put them side by side.
Well, shooting percentages would be like, hey, because early Kobe
like, who was the other guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, one guy's Kobe Bryant, who's the other guy? And then you were like, what? Mitch Richmond?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sneaky.
Good call.
I'm sneaky on that one. I had that on my list as a beer to talk about. And I'm like, ooh, this is Mitch Richmond. He's describing Mitch Richmond. I got this. I'm in.
Oh, yeah. I love me some Mitch Richmond. He was like the first kind of king I kind of fell in love with, along with like obviously when Weber got back here, just to spite the Warriors, I rooted for him. Just to make Don Nelson wrong. I just wanted him to make Don Nelson so wrong.
But you don't have to agree with me that he's hoptologist. Do you have a?
No, I agree. No, I think that is the call. Like I'm totally. I cannot think of a better one than hoptologist for that. Like that one, he is again like a double IPA. It's old. It's unheralded, but they still make it. Yeah. I think they put them in like
you don't seek it out now.
16-ounce cans.
What's that?
Or 20-ounce cans. I think it's in.
Oh yeah, the 19.6s or whatever.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, if you can find it, I don't know if it's the same recipe. It's been a long time since I had one, but put it up against the Pliny and just blindly taste them and let us know what you think.
Yeah, and when you're having a good time but you're not winning. Hoptologist. I've had a bunch of like real weird shit show concerts and stuff like that where like the crowd's awful and the band's like off their game. I'm like, but also I had this hoptologist and it was wonderful. So
yeah, you're like, it'll make it okay. Just give me your biggest beer you got.
Yeah,
give me that.
There was a bar in Auburn that was selling pictures of it for like $5. I'm like, well, I mean, it'd be stupid not to.
Cool. Yeah, they're like, drink this better. That's all you do. You drink it pretty.
Yeah, I love it. It's still a good beer, honestly. If you haven't had it in the last few years, go back and drink it again. Provided, of course, it's not a shelf turd, which happens. Check the date. Buy it. It's good.
It is. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to players here. This is a player that I don't think anybody would ever pick as a top 50 favorite players they've had. But to me, this is maybe not a top 50 player, but a top 50 name. This is one of the top 50 names in sports history. I'm going to go with from 1994 to 1998. Not some flashy stats. He's there. You've heard the name. You've seen the basketball card. Played all over the league. Never averaged more than like 12 points a game. Olden Polynice.
Olden Polynice. Wow. Yes. I remember him actually more, unfortunately, as a sideline coach after. Oh, he was kind of like, what's that guy's name? From San Antonio. It was Ollie, I think. And he
Kevin Ollie?
Kevin Ollie, who played for the Rockets and some others. He was a bench coach too, and I kept on thinking, he was Olden Polynice was always that guy. Like it was like you see him in a suit, and you're like, that guy used to play. Like, but you can't remember where he played or
everywhere. He played everywhere.
Exactly. He was just big, so it's like he'll take you.
Yeah,
like you just come here. Yeah.
He boxed out. He played defense. He wasn't great at it. But he wasn't bad at it. He snagged rebounds. Like that's it. Like
yeah, he's definitely not on anybody's top list of players.
Yeah, but there's just something about the name Olden Polynice. Like you can't look at that and be like, that's a great name.
You have to be a professional athlete with that name.
Yeah.
You have to be an O lineman.
Yeah.
Or big. You're a big guy if that's your name.
Yeah. Oh man, I would love to see him as an offensive tackle. That would be great. Olden Polynice, power forward, pretty good. Olden Polynice, starting left tackle for the Baltimore Ravens, Hall of Fame.
Right, exactly. Bust. Yes, he was the offensive line guard. He was 15 years.
Yeah,
and he's in the Hall of Fame.
Like he's a Tony Siragusa of basketball.
He was on your Supersonics.
Yeah,
he was on the Jazz. Like I mean, he played for good teams. Like I don't think he ever won a championship.
No, did not.
He was with the Clippers, with the Jazz, with Sacramento towards the end. Yeah, and again, that guy was big. He grabbed rebounds. Was a good bench player.
He knew what he was.
Yeah, he knew he was.
Yeah,
he was the Kenny Thomas of. Even though Kenny Thomas got paid like big time by the Kings for several years.
Yeah.
and now is trying to open. I thought he was trying to open a restaurant around here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I heard he is funding it, like in a way.
That'd be cool.
It's always good that the Kings players,
let's get Olden Polonies on this podcast.
Yeah. Let's see what we can do. Yeah.
All right, so we got
7 feet tall, by the way.
Yeah, let's get a beer for him. The Olden Polonies beer. They're sturdy.
Big beer.
Does its job. Cleans up. You don't need anybody else. Like, you do need something else. You do actually need something else to help you through the night.
Let me see here. What could get you through the night?
Like, just it sets you up for a good night, but it's not the reason you had a good night. You know?
Yeah. You know what I would say? I would say it's probably Claim Stakes Triple IPA. I think it's Triple Pine.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That is a big beer. Huge beer. Brian over there, owner, brewer, has no problem with doing all West Coast styles and doing the biggest of beers.
Yeah.
Ever. And naming them usually after great customers who always come in. He's fantastic. So great. Great concept. They remind me a lot of Berryessa and stuff where it's like they're doing their own thing and they're crushing it, like just living the dream, like being who they are and just slowly expanding, doing more, but staying good to their community. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, Triple Pine for me.
I'm down for that. I feel like Claim Stake is a hard brewery to compare players to because they do not replicate beers very often.
No.
And so they got to remember the name, what the style was, and have people like have a.
That's right. Yeah, they don't have like a flagship beer. They just make.
But yeah, I think he's friendly. People love him. He puts in the work. Everything's solid. I think if you're going to name a brewery for a player, Olden Polonies and Claim Stake, yeah, I think that works out very well.
Yeah, they go hand in hand. They do, again, really good stuff. They're really solid. They're just there for you. They're just there all the time. Yeah, I wish I lived in Rancho Cordova.
I know, it'd be so much easier.
It'd be so much easier just to go there all the time. Those people could not be more friendly. They are the reason I like beer so much, are just the people, and they're just one of those good people. Yeah. Like good people in line with everybody else that we like to go drink beer at. Like most people are just amazing.
And they're there when you need them.
Yes, they are. And they make really strong beer to make you forget terrible games. And...
yeah, I'm down for that. Any Claim Stake beer, Olden Polonies, works for me.
Deal. They're just the switchblade of beers. So, yeah, I love it. Yeah, so my guy, of course, was probably fan favorite for a long time when we had the squad. Big friends with Vlade Divac. Makes a lot of threes. He was our 3 guy. Oh. One of my favorite players, Peja Stojakovic.
Oh, boy. Nobody like him.
Nobody like him. He was like the 3 specialist when there wasn't, like, he was the best of the 3 specialists. Like, he was tall. He could move the ball around. He could move without the ball, find space to get open. That guy was amazing. He was a good size. He played defense.
Yeah. Grabbed boards for a surprising amount for a guy that's out there so much as he is.
Yeah. And again, had a good run. Didn't really get hurt too often. But yeah, he was towards that era of Dennis Scott, Anderson for Orlando. Those guys that were just basically 3 specialists. But he was a great passer and a great shooter.
And one of Sacramento's sexiest people.
Oh, easily goes down as like, yeah. The ladies loved him. The ladies did love some Peja.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Peja Stojakovic, what type of beer would you call Peja Stojakovic?
Oh man, I think I'm going to call Peja Stojakovic. I'm going to go with New Glory gummy worms.
Oh, I like
big,
that.
It's bold, it's brash, and a little bit sweet.
Chewy.
A little bit sweet and chewy. Yeah, you want to eat them up.
I like it. I like that. I was going that same way. I like that. I was going to go with Ubadank.
Yeah, I was thinking about Ubadank.
I love the chewy. I love gummy worms. It's he had a little bite to him.
Yeah.
He had a little bite to him. You know, he wasn't going to let people just push him around. He got physical in the Lakers series, man. Like, he played hard. He wanted to win that just as much as anybody else. Agent gave his all when he was out there. I always loved the Kings, too, because they would always get those European players to try to and see things in players that a lot of people didn't see overseas for a long time. And they kind of opened that gate up to the NBA start looking at that and drafting those players. So, yeah, they had a good run. Peja Stojakovic, gummy worms. You got it. I love it. That's a great call.
Yeah. I was like, Ubadank was my initial, my brain said it. I'm like, well, you know, gummy worms has that sweetness, like his stroke.
Yeah. That's a great beer. I like you got it.
All right. So you know, this podcast is fun. We're playful. We have a lot of fun with it.
Of course.
But I'm also kind of a dick throughout this podcast. So there's one.
You
brewery,
are?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, there's one brewery in town that is a Sacramento brewery, in quotes. So I chose a beer from them. People don't know.
It's stationed in Sacramento.
People walk in thinking it's another local craft beer spot on 19th and Capitol, I believe, on the corner there in a really cool spot. It's Golden Road. And they, I think on the nose, named this beer Wolf Among Weeds.
Yes.
So in my mind initially, I was thinking, who's the most reviled Kings player in history? But there really aren't very many players that Kings fans like truly hated.
Like truly hate, yeah, because it's like we just want a player to be good. But yeah, I would put DeMarcus Cousins in that category, I guess.
Yeah, Tyreek Evans might be in there.
I told you Billy Owens. I felt like nobody felt like we got it, what we paid for to get that guy. He wasn't very good. Those Tyreek we were talking about a little bit. But there's somebody a little bit more revolt, like, that people don't like here anymore.
And here's the thing. We talked about this, Phil, before I started recording, and I pitched a name. But then, just now, I thought of someone more reviled than the person we talked about. But do we want to do both? Should we do both?
Oh, is that? We should do both.
Let's do both. So what we talked about before the show is some people actually, they may not know any better and still love this guy for some reason. But to me, it's the racist, homophobic asshole, Grant Napier.
Yeah, no doubt. He is no longer allowed here.
He's got a radio show that's got ads.
Yeah.
On the freeway.
Yeah.
We didn't forget who you are, Grant Napier.
He did it. And it's so funny is how many of the players are just like, oh, yeah, you guys didn't know that?
Yeah.
Like, they just kind of, because it was just so loud, because he could just say everything under his hood because he was Grant Napier.
Yeah.
And then when he finally gets caught up saying something on a topic that he probably shouldn't have been talking about with Black Lives Matter and the cop shootings and stuff, that he showed his blouse, right? Like, I mean, he gave away a little too much, and then that was the end. Like, it basically opened up Pandora's box, and he got ousted.
Yeah, good. But check this one out.
Bye.
Phil, that's, I mean, completely a great pick for
that
Wolf
is,
Among Weeds.
A quality. That is
quality. I think there's another wolf that stands a little prouder, a little taller in the lore of the Sacramento Kings, and that is NBA referees.
That is true. Donaghy probably goes down because he's the face of the Lakers, of the whole thing. As
he didn't even
we
ref that
watched.
game. He wasn't even a ref on that game.
He wasn't a ref on that game. But he's known for it because of the betting. But as we both listened to that podcast, which was amazing.
Yeah.
I don't want to plug it again. You guys have to listen to our previous episodes.
Yeah, go back and listen.
About this.
We need to listen.
But it was, I agree with you. Wow. Over the top. The referees, no doubt, will always go down as ruining Sacramento culture. That's pretty much it. We hate the referees. We're always on the losing end. I feel like we're getting comfortable in it. There was a TNT special on Inside the NBA that they put on HBO. It was a 4-part series on all the guys that are on there and talking about Inside the NBA. Have been on 30 years, which is insane. It makes me feel incredibly old. And all we were on there. Sacramento was probably referenced more than most teams, but it was always in a negative light. Us being bad or horrible, or what are we going to talk about? Nobody wants to watch the Kings versus, the Hornets. Like, well, we have to make this interesting kind of thing. Great documentary though. But yeah, like we are pariah, but I think we're kind of comfortable, or not a pariah, but I feel like, we're just not good, but we're famous good. We're famous bad. Like they don't talk about Milwaukee, even though they just gotten kind of good lately. They don't talk about Milwaukee. They don't talk about Atlanta. They don't talk about other teams that have been bad perennially for a long time. Like they talk about Sacramento Kings. Nobody talks about us, even though we had a good 5-year run there where we should have won a championship. Like, it's pretty interesting to me. And I kind of just, I wear it. I'm like, I'm okay with it. It's like somehow we're famous for being bad. Like, we weren't good at all. And
we're famous for the time that we were good being the most colossal screw job in sports history.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're the Cleveland Browns.
You think we're not beating the Nets that year? You think we can't take down Jason Kidd and Keith Van Horn? Come on.
It wasn't even close. Yeah, they knew who came out the West.
Our defense was going to stifle those guys. They got swept 4-0 against those Lakers. They weren't going to put up a fight against us.
No, my God. Yeah, we took the Lakers to 7. We shouldn't have even been 7. It should have been 6. We should have beat them in 6. It should have been done. Yeah. It should have been done.
Yeah, come on.
So don't, we would have swept them even worse. So it's not fair. They should have had the 1. They don't. It altered Sacramento and everything.
Yeah, it fractured the entire city.
Yeah.
Demonry.
Yeah. Yes. Oh. It set a colossal things in motion.
Yeah, the team fell apart. You can't come back from that. There's nothing you can do mentally to come back from that. Those players didn't want to come back facing a league that was clearly against them. That they knew that team,
how do you no matter how good they were,
there's going to be somebody there stopping them beyond their control. Like, you can only play the game, and when the game that you play isn't enough because the whole league is against you, how are you supposed to come back the next year and be like, let's do it again? How are you supposed to do that?
They knew what they didn't want New Jersey and Sacramento in the final. They didn't want 2 small teams in the finals. That was it.
Yeah.
And they made sure that it happened, and they just could care less about what it meant. And that's why I feel like David Stern is one of his last things before he died, to make himself feel better, was to make sure the Kings stayed in Sacramento, just because he knows the colossal ram job that he did on them.
The only reason they were on the block is because of that issue.
Yes.
And also, just so you know, there's a little bit of revisionist history. People are like, oh, they just wanted to get a Game 7, and they thought the Kings would win Game 7. No, they didn't.
No, they
still screwed them on Game 7, too.
Yes, people seem to think way more foul calls.
They just wanted that extra game of revenue.
I think all their centers had 4 fouls before halftime. Yeah. It was ridiculous. It was,
and then the 26 fouls or whatever in the fourth quarter, 27 fouls. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
This isn't how we end this podcast episode, by the way. We're not going to end on this. We're going to...
No, but this is totally Sacramento Kings podcast at this point. If we're going to do it, we're just going to get it out the way. The rim job was done. It was horrible. Again, there's podcasts out there that talk about it in detail.
Definitely check
I don't like to go over it. Find it, talk about it. It's great. But you got to listen to our other podcasts to find out where it is.
Or use Google.
But yes, we could do, let's pick another. We have to do Oscar Robinson, I goes to.
Oh, you want to go old school Kings. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have to do probably the winningest king of all time. Like,
oh, boy.
So what would be one of the most heralded beers in Sacramento, if you can think of one? It's hard nowadays because they don't have flagship beers as much anymore.
Yeah.
But heralded beer in Sacramento that everybody loves.
No, I don't think that's what Oscar Robertson is. I think Oscar Robertson has detractors, people that his teammates didn't like him.
Well, that's true.
You know, he didn't win.
He held on the ball a lot. He had a lot of triple doubles.
A lot of triple doubles. I mean, obviously, you're looking at triple IPA level. Oscar Robertson.
So is he a milkshake?
Pound for pound players of all time. One of the greatest players when you look at raw stats. It's undeniable. One of the great athletes in the sport. But does he?
Is he a milkshake IPA?
No. Oh, come on! Don't be a dick. That's my job. Don't you dare throw a milkshake IPA for Oscar Robertson.
Hey.
You put some respect on that man's name.
Hey.
But also,
maybe, a lot of milkshake IPAs and triple doubles on this.
You know what? Hey, let's just, since we're here, speaking of the Bucks, is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar a milkshake IPA? Just get those stats. Just hang around long enough.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna besmirch one of the top 15 greatest players of all time and call him a milkshake IPA. That's reserved for people that are in the top 40.
I just thought I'd just throw it out there.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I would say we've already gone to claim stake, but not getting any younger. It's a triple IPA.
Oh, yeah.
People love him, but he's not. And, well, to be fair, younger is the original, so it's a tough call. Maybe it's not getting any younger. Yeah, what do you even call this guy?
Yeah.
You know what? Here we go. I've got it. This is one of the great beers in Sacramento history. It's delicate. It's time-consuming, so it keeps the rock, you know. It's expensive, but he wasn't expensive because they weren't paying players back then. They had to work as shoe salesmen and things like that. But also, fantastic. I'm going to go. We haven't mentioned him at all. That's why I'm doing this. Miraz the Cardinal.
Oh, okay.
Their premier sour.
I like it. I was wondering if we were going to get Miraz in here somewhere.
I had to shoehorn it in. We're running out of time.
No, it's a good call. I think Miraz does the job. They're basically known for their sours. The Cardinal was one of their flagship sours that they made all the time. It was a great beer, but again, I feel like they were in this time frame where it was just like people weren't ready for where they are. Like if they came out now, I think they'd be more successful than they were before.
Yeah,
but I think I agree with you. I think the big O is that beer. Like I would go with that for sure.
All right, you know what? We have one segment that we do every episode that we haven't done here. It's called "Is It the Gueuze?" Our dunk of the fortnight. But in this case, I was thinking we could do our favorite Kings dunks of all time.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, the more you think about it, there's not a lot of great dunkers to come out of Sacramento. Not even a lot of great dunks. I had to like really rack my brain. And there's the Gerald Wallace, anything he does. And then there's like other.
Yeah, that's kind of true. Yes. Yeah. There's Darren Fox has had some pretty good ones this year coming into his own. He's really kind of taking on, showing his athleticism and his fearlessness and going to the hole and really racking on people. But yeah, he is probably up there with, it would have to be like for me, a Jason Williams pass, like around the back, which I've seen a million times, or on a fast break going to Weber.
Yeah.
And Weber
for a transition dunk.
Like, those are some of the best, like, most exciting things you're watching that just got you into basketball. Like they were I think a renaissance team for basketball nowadays. So
now for me, I did a little bit of searching because I'm that guy.
Of course,
I saw this great dunk. It's Isaiah Thomas dribbling along the 3-point line on the left, loses his handle, defense collapses on him, think they're going to get a pick, just get a steal and go. He kicks it to Quincy Acey, driving down the middle of the lane. One one dribble, and a fucking hammer on the hammer, Marcin Gortat. Oh my God. Ended Gortat's life.
Look it up. AC over Gortat.
Yeah.
I like it. Quincy AC was another one of those guys that was just a big guy, but he played hard.
Olden Polonies, Wayman Tisdale.
Yeah.
Quincy AC. They've got a type. The Kings have a type.
You can have 10 good years in the NBA. Just that size, be 6'9" to 7 foot and just be there.
Yeah, Jason Thompson had a pretty decent career doing that as well.
Yeah.
People hated him. I think he might be the most hated Kings player for no reason that I could think of. I love Jason Thompson. But
I think it was like just where he was drafted. Like I felt like a lot of people felt he could have even been undrafted, if not the second round. So I think that was more it. I know that they've had several things again because the Kings are like the laughing stock of the league in some ways, is that they talk about where we missed out on Damian Lillard, where we missed out on other players that we should have drafted, where everybody kept on saying that the Kings say that they're going to pick them, and then they don't. They pick somebody else. And it's unfortunate. It's just part of, but that's Kings history. And that's, they get it right every once in a great mood.
Yep. All right, so we've left a lot of players on the table, a lot of beers on the table, but, we've only got an hour and change. I think we tackled a lot of stuff. We had a lot of fun here.
I think we did. Yeah, we make sure you go get Sacramento beers this week from breweries when you can. Support those breweries. They need it. Pandemic hitting them hard just like everybody else. And they make a lot more money when you go there and actually drink. So help those breweries out in your area.
Absolutely. Pick up a beer somewhere. Tag us. Let us know what you're drinking. Say, hey, this beer reminds me of a beautiful Bobby Jackson, something like that.
Oh, yeah. See, we didn't even get to those guys,
Yeah, so many players left on the table.
So many.
Yeah, let us know when you're drinking a beer what basketball player reminds you of. Let's keep it going. I think that's it. So before we get out of here, don't forget you can follow us across social media. Instagram at Please Dunk Responsibly. Twitter at Please Dunk Pod, PLZ Dunk Pod. Email us questions, comments, concerns, things you want us to compare, players you want us to compare to beers, all that stuff. Please dunk responsibly at gmail.com. Ooh, you know what we should do before we go is the Kings as a brewery.
Oh, yeah.
What is this team as a brewery? Are we doing Sacramento breweries? I think we are.
Yes, we have to come full circle and do a Sacramento brewery. Yeah, let's describe where the Kings are, as a franchise right now. They're kind of floundering. Mm-hmm. They have some good talent, as always, good young talent. They have some linchpin in Fox that they want to keep. Bagley doesn't seem like that one worked out so well. Where did they go from here?
Yeah.
Who do they get a little bit better? They're kind of steady. They're fun to watch. Sometimes they have Halliburton. So where we go from here?
Yeah. Where got an owner who likes basketball, doesn't understand it, has played on a professional level. Right. Still thinks he can bring in junior high girls basketball fundamentals to NBA basketball. The Maloofs wanted to be Sacramento. They wanted to be the face of Sacramento. Eventually, they thought they were bigger than the team that they put together, which is a great team, the best team Sacramento's ever seen, but they still wanted more. And then just before that, just a decade and a half of failure. So it's kind of a tough call. Who really had that history where there was a floundering, a renaissance, too big for their britches, and then what we have now.
Yeah, not a lot of breweries live past that. If that happens, the ones we can think of who've had a renaissance but then flounder usually aren't here anymore.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah,
so
it gets kind of tough. Yeah, it gets kind of tough here
because beer is not like basketball. You can't
No, you have to keep producing.
Millions of fans.
You have to keep producing. So
you're going to be able to sell it off and be fine. You can't do it with a brewery.
No,
so it's not
brewery's got to work out.
Yeah,
but I would say again, Sacramento love people who constantly support them locally, no matter what. I think they're our starting five of our dream team. It's got to be Urban Roots, Bike Dog, Claim Steak, one of those that just is beloved. People love them. People want them to be great, and support them very well. They're just not like bringing championships yet, but they're people love them,
and they're
we
constantly
love our beer
morphing.
here.
They're constantly changing.
They're constantly morphing.
Like new ownership, new brewers, old ownership, like just a constant change. Always pushing to be better and trying to bring this city a beer championship, which doesn't exist, but we're gonna do it.
We're gonna do it. Oak Park is up there for me. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it was
they did have a complete ownership change, so
right,
and a rebirth. It's kind of like right now is the Maloof era. I think they're really just like doing great.
Right. Yes, I think that they had a bad time. They got from under that bad ownership into a subpar ownership that's like better, and they want to do good things. But at least they're focusing on their community. They're doing great things. They got community support.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think those are all fair. All right, so before we get out of here, where can people find you online, Phil, if they need to learn more about you?
At Culinary Lando on Instagram and Chef Sportsman on Twitter. But yeah, like I'll be constantly doing some more food pics and stuff like that of things people can still do during quarantine, as well as highlighting some more of these beers that people need to pick up because I love beer. I love beer industry. I love the people. I love Sacramento. So
absolutely,
let's do it. Let's support.
And you can find me across social media at Barley and Me Pod. Check out that podcast. It's actually short for Barley and Me Podcast. All right. Let's get out of here. Before we do, I just want to remind you to please dunk responsibly.